This video will contain absolutely no spoilers for Silksong. If I were like any other good old Hollow Knight YouTuber, I would have started this video by jump scaring you with some good old Silksong trailer footage. Heck, at this point, I would have likely shown you footage of the actual game, shoving those sweet spoilers right down your throat. But this channel is not like any other Hollow Knight channel. Because if there's one thing I want this channel to be defined by, it's the understanding and acceptance of the people who do not want to be spoiled. Maybe you haven't gotten around to buying the game yet. Maybe you're away on holiday right now and can't play for a good while. Or maybe you're just taking your time and enjoying the game. What a crime. If any of these statements apply to your situation, I'm with you 100%. But here's the problem, and we all know it. Even though you're dodging spoilers, you might still want to browse YouTube. After a long day of school or work, it's fun to have something to watch. And heck, maybe you even want to watch something that's related to that awesome new game you're currently playing. But you don't want spoilers, so what do? Do you keep YouTube far away until you've completed all of Silksong, or do you risk having some future part of the game spoiled? Well, maybe you don't have to choose. There might be one solution. One thing I want this channel to be defined by is the respect for those who don't want to be spoiled. But another thing I want it to be defined by is honesty. So let me be completely honest with you. This video is an offer. I'm making it to tell you that I'd really like for you to come along with us for the ride. Here at the Holland channel, we're a collection of Hollow Knight enthusiastic critics who love the original game but are also able to criticize it. The same will certainly ring true for Silksong as well. I have made videos on Hollow Knight and will continue doing so on Silksong, covering everything from attempts to rebalance every charm in the game, to analyzing and discovering new tricks related to bosses, to designing fan-made concepts, and to pointing out flaws with the core mechanics in brutally honest fashion. So here's my offer. If you like Silksong but you're afraid of having the entire game spoiled for you, I'd like for you to consider subscribing to the Holland channel. That's the one you're currently watching, because I want to be able to provide you with Silksong content but without any risk of you feeling spoiled. And I want to do that by making 3 promises. Firstly, I'll be playing through the game slowly. I've heard rumors floating around that there are already channels who have started to release clickbait thumbnails containing late game bosses. All that after only a day of the game being released. And as a Hollow Knight YouTuber, I obviously see the allure in doing that. You want to be out there quickly, reining in those sweet views. But I've just come to believe that this is not the way to do it. Not only are you likely robbing yourself of the chance to genuinely enjoy the game, you're spoiling everyone who has to look at your stupid thumbnails. Shoving the final boss down their throat on the first day, no less. So even though my channel might benefit greatly from rushing out Silksong content, I won't be doing so. And this is no moral virtue of mine, it is a core belief I have, but it's also so I can get to enjoy the game. As I said, I'll be enjoying the game at a slow pace. I want to take in the entire Silksong world properly this very first time, because I'll never get the chance to do so ever again. And neither will you, which is why I really hope neither of us get spoiled. Actually, I've only spent about an hour and a half inside the game by now, because I'm playing through it with my lovely younger brothers. And, they're in school, so I have to wait for them to get home. I could complain about that, but I'm actually really loving it. I'm loving the time I get to think about the game and speculate what's to come, and it's fun not to just rush through it all. As such, I don't know how long it'll take for me before I start releasing content on Silksong. But that's a good thing in my mind, because it means we can both take the time we need to play through the game before you're gonna start seeing my Silksong videos pop up on your feed. So that's my first promise. I won't rush into making videos. I'll enjoy the game with you at a calm pace and then slowly ramp it up from there. My second promise is that once I do finally get to making Silksong content, I'll try to keep the thumbnails as spoiler-free as I possibly can. I don't know how exactly I'll handle the thumbnails, but I can assure you that I will not be filling them with late game bosses or areas or abilities or anything like that. A thumbnail is sacred in some way because you can't just not see it. It pops up right in your face, and if there's a spoiler on that thumbnail, you're screwed. Moreover, I'll try to give you a spoiler warning at the start of every video, letting you know exactly what spoilers the video will contain. And likely what I'll do with my first videos is talk about earlier parts of the game before ramping up to the later areas and abilities and such. So if you've only gotten so far into the game, you'll still be able to watch my videos without being spoiled. Although I can't promise exactly where my creative inspiration will lie. But again, I'll try to specify exactly what I'm spoiling at the start of the video. In any case, that's my second promise. I'll do my absolute best to limit any kinds of spoilers within the early days of Silksong. And anything I do spoil, I'll attempt to warn you of beforehand, so you never click away from any of my videos feeling spoiled. And finally, I'll promise to keep some of the game locked behind spoiler warnings forever. Yes, forever. At some point in the future, and it's hard to say exactly when, I believe there will come a time when it will not be controversial to put an early to mid-game area or boss in a thumbnail. Again, I'll do my absolute best not to do so, but at some point when everyone's had a chance to play the game, this will certainly not feel as taboo as it currently does. However, there are some things that you just do not spoil, ever, at least not in my opinion. Again, I'm only about an hour and a half into the game and I have no idea what the final boss will be, but once I find out, I will not be putting him or her in a thumbnail, or even just show a clip of me fighting the boss without warning you first. Because it's one thing to spoil a boss who you can reach within a few hours of gameplay, given that the game has been out for a while. It's another thing to spoil something like the final boss, or even just a very late game boss. Through the 40 or so Hollow Knight videos I've made so far, I've always made it a top priority of mine not to spoil any of the very late game bosses in Hollow Knight without giving a spoiler warning first. And I do not have any plans of changing this approach for Silksong. I would like to keep my thumbnails and video footage completely clean of very late game bosses, not just in the early stages of the game's lifespan, but again, permanently. So those are my promises to you. The content will come out slowly at first as we experience the game together. Throughout the coming weeks, I'll try to keep all spoilers out of my thumbnails while giving spoiler warnings at the start of every Silksong video. And even once the game reaches maturity, I'll continue to keep all major spoilers locked behind spoiler warnings. Because no matter what people who have already played the game say, there's always someone who hasn't. And as somebody who came late to Hollow Knight in the first place, I know exactly how it feels to be spoiled. It doesn't matter how long the game's been out, spoiling the final boss without a care in the world will ruin the experience for thousands of new players to come. So one final time, I'll make the offer. I'll be your spoiler-free source of exciting Silksong content, from boss analyses to suggestions for new features to critical yet loving critiques of the core game. And you'll subscribe to the channel. That's the offer. Take it or leave it. And with that, I'm Holland. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, spoiler-free day. Goodbye.